I do. I mean, I could have done with another couple of weeks, honestly. No, but I'm ready to go again. Back in the mentality of driving and racing and thinking about lap time. But I've also had my time to not think about any of these things, you know. So, no, I had a good winter. Spending some time with my family, then with my friends. Kind of before you know it, getting back training again. But I've been able to do that in some nice places, you know. So, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed my time off. It's gone very quickly because it's time to get going again.
Did you get a chance to look back at last year and everything you had achieved? I know it wasn't the title at the end of it from the driver's perspective. Got the constructors, got those wins. Did you get some chance to like really look back at how great that year was?
I think bits of it. I mean, racing's always in my mind, so you know, there's plenty of times when I was just I don't know, going to sleep or something, and I've been thinking of different things, and different days, different bits would pop up. You know, I think of one track or one race or a corner, whatever it is. You know, it's always there. It's always there in your mind. So I think I did. I think I managed to realise, you know, I got my first win in Formula One and then went on to score some more. Was it a perfect year? No. Like, was there plenty of times when I've learned and kind of learned the hard way? You know, was there missed opportunities? Those kind of things. And there were, you know, so as much as there was good things, there was also the negatives and the struggles, and there's always going to be those, but of course you want to limit one and increase the other. But you know, it was a good year. I knew I had to come into the winter, reset, review all of these things and pick up and improve on certain areas, because there was definitely, as good of a year as it was, there was plenty of areas that I wasn't as strong as I needed to be, you know, and I want to make sure that this year I am, and I'm ready to go against Max or whoever I want to be racing against. Yeah, but it's just as hard every year, you know. So it's not like now I'm second and it's only another step. You kind of just have to retake all those steps again in some ways. So we'll see. I think I'm relaxed. I'm very calm. I'm determined to do better than I did last year and kind of make amends in some areas, but also just excited to get back racing again, to get working on the car. You know, it's going to be, I think, it's just a tough year for everyone because it's going to be so close, as much as I hope it isn't, and I hope that we've done and the guys and girls did an amazing job in the factory to improve so much. Every year when regulations don't change and there aren't any rules changes and things like that, normally it just gets closer and closer and closer. And it was pretty close last year, so I'm only expecting this year to be even harder and even closer. So it should be exciting. I think it's an exciting year for Formula One and for everyone watching. But also going to be a tough year for us too.
It feels pretty cool to go into a year for the first time ever as a champion and to know that you can fight for the title if everything goes to plan from the first race.
Probably one of our biggest goals is just to start the season well, because we've not done it. We've not done it in the last, since I started, so 2019. We've not just started on the right foot and gone from there. We've started a long way behind and then had to play catch up every single year. Even last year, we started a long way off. We were clearly the fourth fastest team. For us to end up being probably on average the best team. Some races easily the best team. You know, this is what made last year so special and such an incredible year, was because 3, 4, 5 races in, we were like, damn, we got a lot of work to do. And we did, but we were able to do such a good job. We were able to get a lot of it back. But I think we know there's going to be more pressure. We're going in as favourites and things like that. But the guys and the girls, I feel like it's not changed them, which is the correct thing. You don't want a bit of success to change someone. Yeah. If anything, you want it to make them more hungry to go, I want to do that again now. So, and I think that's the mentality we've got, which is very important. Because as soon as you get a little bit complacent in the world of Formula One, you slip behind too quickly, you know. So, no, they've done an amazing job. We know there's more pressure. We know there's going to be more nerves, just because that's the expectation. There's more eyes on you. But as long as we know it's there, but as long as we just kind of keep concentrating on our own job and focusing, there's no reason to let it affect us.
Really nice thing I thought you said to me in the pen at the end of last year is how you feel like you've got some belief in yourself, and I know it's not always been that easy to do. How much does that help kind of going into this year, and how satisfying is it that you've kind of reached that kind of part in your career?
I think it was definitely, it was a noticeable point for me. Just because it's something I've struggled with since racing and being in Formula One. Every driver is different, so there's going to be plenty of drivers that come in and like, yeah, I'm going to do it this year, and I'm going to be the boss, all that stuff. Everyone has their own way of saying things to themselves and saying stuff to the media. I only just say stuff that I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. Sometimes that's not a very high expectation. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. But it's always the truth. So when I go into a weekend and I don't think we're going to do well, it's because I genuinely don't think we're going to do well. It's nice when I prove myself wrong more often than not. And when I say that, then we have a great weekend and it's like wonderful. But there's also times when I say, yeah, we're going to be good this weekend, and we struggle. So, I'm always honest in those things. And definitely through last year, I had those moments, the good moments, where I was like, and not just because it was after a good race or a win or whatever. Sometimes it's even after the tougher races where Max got the better of me or something like that. Was I'm like, well, I had that little kick of like, okay, I can do this. I can race against him. I can fight at the front. Because for me, I've always been like, I don't know, I've always felt like the kid of like, one day I want to be in Formula One and race against these guys, And always like, it always seems distant. Like one day I want to be up there. And I've always thought like that. Then when you're in, karting, you're like, oh, F4, like how am I going to do this? And I want to race against these guys. And then you're in F4, then you're like, damn, now I've got to go F3 and F2 and F1, and you get to that point. Then when you're in F1, and for me it was like, no, I'm in F1, but I got to race against Lewis and Fernando, and these guys have been doing it for years, and Max, and then yeah, for me it's always been, I've always felt like I've had to experience something to really make myself believe it. Last year I experienced that time I won some races. I fought these guys that I've like, how am I going to do against them? And for me, I just can't answer something until I know it, really. And maybe that's not always the correct mentality to have and the right thought of things, but that's me, and that's how I work. Some things aren't great and some things are great, and a lot of it makes me me and why I'm very good in certain areas. But last year was that moment where I was like, I can do it, which is why I said what I said at the last race, not because it was out of overconfidence or like, next year's my year, like in the arrogant way. It was just I feel like I compete against these guys. I can be at the top. I can fight. But that never goes without the saying of, but I know I got to work harder and work more and those things. So it's never an easy answer. It's never it's always complicated. But last year was a good year for realizing that for myself. I think I joined with Max on poles. I think it was 9 each or something. But yeah, I think the good moment for me was the 1 year before that, or last year, like you're saying, was my qualies. There was too many mistakes. Yeah. It wasn't that my qualifying was always bad, but it was just I would do some great laps sometimes, and other laps when I could almost do that good lap, I didn't, and I locked up, or I made this mistake, or had an oversteer, whatever it was. Last year, my percentage of putting those laps in. Maybe sacrificing 1 or 2 hundredths here or whatever it was, just getting the measurement right of like risk reward. And year prior I was almost too risky for a great reward, but that's when you weren't quite quick enough. Whereas last year I think almost because we were like, okay, we're quick, I could rebalance that and I could just put those laps in and be more consistent. And there were some times when like we almost felt like we shouldn't have been on pole, and he ended up on pole, and it was like, damn, that was mega. There's times when I should have been on pole and I wasn't, maybe because I still didn't put in a perfect lap or it was just a bit too tricky. And then there was those days like Singapore and Abu Dhabi where it was like, I got this, and you could go out and the gap was big, So you have all these mixtures, but quali was one of those things. I felt like my races were still very strong from a performance point of view. My qualies were strong, but that was last year. this is a new year and I got to do it all over again and improve as many years as I can.
You talked about improvement. I thought Andrea said a really nice thing earlier about how he feels like you've really improved on the racecraft side of things. You can see evidence of, like when you race Max, you can see clear evidence of how you've changed. Do you feel more ready to do things like race Max, to be in all of those situations that hopefully you'll be in more commonly this year?
Yeah, I think some of it was just I had to live those moments to learn. And you learn a lot more from those moments than you do from just an easy win or the success, you know, like if I look back to Zandvoort or Abu Dhabi, whatever it is, they're great moments, but you learn a lot less doing that than when when I crashed with Max and we had Mexico and Austin, those sort of, you learn way more from those situations. So, going through those bad and those tougher moments were definitely good things in order to prepare for this year, because I'm sure there's going to be more of the same. But it wasn't always that I just did a terrible job. It was just sometimes I made the slightly wrong decision, or, in Austria, as much as I didn't want to, and I don't think it was that my problem, if I moved the car 1 centimetre more to the left, would you have avoided contact? There's too many what ifs. And it's very, very easy to say what ifs. I learned from those things. But it's again, you learn from it, but you still got to go out and do it. And I think as much as I can talk and people can talk, I still need to go out and do it every weekend. So, I know what I need to focus on. I know this was one of those things I had to improve on. But I need to go out on track this year and be quick, do these things, not make mistakes, put up a good fight against Max. I have to go out and do them. And you can talk all you want, but I need to go out and do it. And that's the thing, which is always tricky. The start of a year is always exciting. There's so much excitement for the first race. It takes all the pleasure out of these moments. I don't really. That's so fun. Nothing's then fun in the world comparing to that. In a way, the excitement and the questioning on how we're going to do here, what we're going to all of those questions. I'm excited now. The whole team are excited. We're working hard. We've got our heads down. So we're focused. I think that's the best way of just putting it. We're focused and we're excited to get cracking.